From the EPAWA headquarters in South Allentown, Pennsylvania, it's time for Weather Weeklies, an informative video of the ins and outs of weather that affect you most in the EPAWA coverage area. The following segment is a weekly video blog, and the opinions of the forecaster do not necessarily reflect the opinions of the staff of Eastern PA Weather Authority LLC as a whole, nor its constituents. Without further ado, here is meteorologist Bobby Martrich with Weather Weeklies.
And good Sunday morning to you. Another edition of Weather Weeklies for Sunday, November 15th. Of course, we didn't have this last week. The last one we had was 2 weeks ago because we're preparing our Winter Outlook release, which went out Friday night. So if for some reason you did miss that, I do encourage you to read it because there is a lot of information in there. And there's a plain English summary at the bottom, but if you've been following around these videos, you pretty much get the gist of what we're talking about because I've been explaining these over the last several months here. But we're going to break this down here first like we normally do and go with the long range. This was just updated on Friday as well. We didn't link to it publicly. It is available publicly, but we didn't link to it on the Facebook page because we had the Winter Outlook going out the same day, so we did not link to this. So if you did miss it, you can check that out as well under our long range outlooks from our homepage. Here is what we're looking at for obviously this is yesterday and today, and since this was done on Friday night, obviously we had the weekend here below average, but then we're going to be going into an above average regime for several days up to about the 22nd. It looks like you can scratch this off here because this was already taken place. This was Friday night. The 19th. It looks like we're going to have a band of showers and storms come through here. This is next Thursday. And then we're going to be temperatures near average after that point. I think it's actually going to start a little bit earlier than this. We have to watch this end of month near average because we do have some indications that we're going to go below average as we get into the last week of the month, as we get from like maybe Thanksgiving onward. But I don't think we're talking snow yet. I know there's been some models, especially the GFS, kind of hinting at in the long range that there will be some snow to deal with around Thanksgiving. I don't think it's going to happen yet. It's coming, but not yet. Here is the November temperatures as a whole. Of course, we had a very warm start, so even if we do end the last week or last couple days of November below normal, it's not going to be enough to overcome how warm it was to start off. And precipitation as a whole went up near average. And then, of course, December, we're going into slightly above average, or sticking with that for now. But this is not a high confidence forecast because there's some indications that we're starting to see some similarities to what happened to 2009, at least at the start of winter. Of course, we had a warm warm November to start in 2009, and then it got cold in December, and we had some pretty decent snowfall. In many areas for year 2000, December of 2009. It started off winter very quickly. So we're going to keep some, there's some similarities we're seeing right now. So if that does end up becoming a little bit more toward a 2009 regime, we're going to be actually abandoning the slightly below average and actually going cooler than average. Now, most outlooks I saw have a warm December, so we're going slightly above, so we're actually kind of lower than anybody else I've seen. So, that's close enough. We're still, I hate using this analogy because people are like, well, you were still wrong, but you were closer than everybody else. Well, that doesn't get you any points, really. Nobody really cares about that. I think right now we're sticking with slightly above average, but we might be adjusting it, so just check it in future runs. Above average precipitation, we're also going to get busier pattern in December as far as precipitation is concerned, whether that's rain or snow. I think we're going to have a combination of both, and because of that, with the increased precipitation, we're going to have the opportunity for more snow, near to slightly above average snowfall for the month of December as a whole, just when those cold shots that we're going to get. We're going to have, cold shot, then moderation, cold shot, then moderation, cold shot, then moderation. That's what we're looking like in December, it looks like. So if we can time those cold shots, we'll definitely get into some chances of snow. Here is what we're looking at this week. Have another ridge in the east here. You can see what's happening here. This is kicking out here, and you got some cooler air coming in here. This is going to be more centralized in the plains though, and we're not going to really get into this until the following week, I think. We do have some ridging starting to get back into Alaska. So this has a little bit of a lag effect, but once you start to get this ridging established here into the Gulf of Alaska, that's going to allow for some cold air to intrude into the country, and I think it's going to end up happening, just not this week. We kick out with that cold front here Thursday, and then we get into next week into Thanksgiving, and we still look what happens here. You have your ridging still now the further east, and now you have a ridging along the west coast. which will get the cold air to the east now instead of in the plains. And I think we're going to get some pretty chilly temperatures here as we get toward, you're right around Thanksgiving and toward the end of the month here. We'll have some shots coming in here of some colder than normal weather. Now keep in mind that at this time of year, when we're talking about in these areas here, normal temperature, normal highs are generally around 50 or maybe low 50s in these areas here at that time. So if you're below normal, obviously you're stuck in the 40s, maybe in some 30s. We'll see how that plays out as we get a little bit closer to that. But just showing that what's going on into the week of Thanksgiving, it's going to start dropping down again. And this all makes sense because one of the things we're looking at in interseasonal forecasting is a Madden-Julian oscillation. And this is what, for the months of November, December, and January, a phase 3 signal is a very warm signal. We've been in that now. You can see that right here. This was in phase 2 when we were a little bit cooler. Since we've been within this warmer regime here, we've been in phase 3. So this all makes sense. This is a warm phase. This is why we've been warm, but it has weakened, so it's not as strong as it has been. Let's get closer to this. They kind of give you a lay term here. This is not that I'm going to give you the technical and bore you here with the Madden-Julian oscillation. This is the circle of death. The closer it gets to this, is showing a more weaker signal down here than as opposed to being out here. But it is phase 3 nonetheless. But you see it starts backing into, it's forecasted backing into phase 2. Phase 2 is a cooler signal, not cold. Okay, because that would be phase 1, phase 8, phase 7. Those are your really cold phases. Phase 2 backs off the. You can see it's no longer these bright oranges and yellows, which indicate warmth. They're kind of like on the fence. So I think we're going to head back to that, and that's because you're going to see some cold shots, but you're going to see moderating shots too, and they're going to kind of balance out. Okay, this goes from the 14th to the 28th, so we don't get to these to the end of months here. The last couple dots here are the very end of November, so that makes sense of why we're going a little bit. A little bit colder as we get to the final week. So I do agree with this. I do agree that I think the Madden-Julian oscillation is picking up on that. Okay, that's enough for the short term. Let me get into, of course, winter is coming. We have our winter outlook that we put out. On Friday evening. I want to go into detail explaining one general concept, really, because this seems to be missed. Everybody's saying, well, why didn't you use 1997, 1998 as one of your analogs? We chose 5. Okay, we chose 5 analogs. You did not see 72, 73, which gave us 0 snowfall here. You did not see 97, 98, which gave us next to 0 snowfall in this area. Okay? There's a reason for that. Okay? This is, and now those are strong El Nino years, just like this year is. They're saying, well, why didn't you use it? That makes sense. Why would you abandon that? Not even putting in your top 5. I wouldn't have put in my top 10. And the reason is, in 1997, you did have strong Nino, but see these temperature anomalies here. This is where your El Nino region is here, and I'm going to break this down a little bit closer so you understand what this is. The next frame here. This is all a measure of the sea surface temperatures along the East Pacific equatorial region here. Okay, this is temperatures in relation to what is considered to be normal. These are all about plus 2.8, plus 2.9 degrees Celsius above normal. All right. Now, it doesn't seem like a big deal, but it is. It is. And the reason the sea surface temperatures are so important, you can talk about all this other nonsense. All right? You can talk about the QBO, you can talk about the PDO, you can talk about NAO. Yeah, they're all important. They all play a factor. Most important is going to be El Nino. Most important is going to be anything involving your sea surface temperatures. And actually, those other things I talked about that are lesser are all based on sea surface temperatures, too. The NAO is. See this cold pool up here? That's supporting a negative NAO in winter. That is a negative NAO screaming signal. Okay? This is your PDO here, your warm PDO. This is important. This drove our winter in the last couple seasons. Warm PDO, we had a snowy winter the last 2 years. Okay? Guess what? Still there. Guess what? This is a measure of sea surface temperatures, just like this is, just like El Nino is. Okay? This is all important. Cold pool. Just north of Hawaii. Hawaii's right here. There's Hawaii, where I put that X. Cold pool right there. That's a good thing. Okay? Got all this warm water here along the eastern coast. This is also going to help with blocking. All right? So there are a lot of things that are going on here, but these are all these different factors we figure into it, but they're all based on sea surface temperatures. Sea surface temperatures drive the climate in this country, or actually across the entire world. And the reason being is water makes up 70% of the Earth. So it drives the atmosphere and the changes the atmosphere and the global climate. Okay? So that's very important. as we get into a closer look at what we looked at a couple weeks ago. All right, if your best warming is over here in Nino 1 and 2, which is in this area, 1997, 1998, your best warming was right in this area. Eastern sections of Nino 3 and Nino 1 and 2. All right, what that does is put your ridge up here in the center of the country. All right, kind of like that. Your cold air is stuck up here in eastern Canada, like it was in 1997 and 1998 and 72, 73. This is kind of where the northern branch of the jet stream was stayed up here. The southern branch came down here like this. All right, so great for eastern Canada, great for Nova Scotia. Good for them. All right, not good here. And that's because it was just too warm. Because that northern branch so far to the north, you're not going to get that cold and snow. Now, this was 2 weeks ago. See where these marks are here? This is going up the scale here quite a bit. The reds are obviously they're above normal. Oranges and reds. You can see all these here, oranges and reds. Greatest warming is actually out here 2 weeks ago in Nino 3. Watch what happened. Watch what happened from this 2 weeks ago to what it is now. Boom. Uh-oh. Well, now your greatest warming is out here. Huge, huge change. Nino 1 and 2, not so much. Nino 3 still hanging on to some warm anomalies here, but you see what's going on here. Everything is focusing out here now. And that is a big change. That's a huge change. That's why we went aggressive in our winter outlook. This is why. It's not about how this can get up to +4 Celsius. I don't care what. It's already a record. But you can put this at 1 or 2 degrees Celsius above the record and make it like the strongest El Nino anybody's ever seen. It won't matter. It does not matter. It's about placement. The closer to the international date line it is, which is out here, here's your international date line. The closer this warming is to the international date line, the better for cold and snow. Because if your best warming is out here, your focus, your convection is going to be out here. Your best tropical forcing is going to be there. If your tropical forcing is there, it's throwing heights at the ridge in the western United States. So that's bad for them if they want snow. And you got all this warm water up here helping that too. This is the PDO right here. This is all this warm water helping that too. So you got a couple things going. This is like everything's going in our favor here if you're wanting cold and snow. Because all this is going to do is throw heights at this ridge. And the ridge is going to be out here, and you're going to have a trough in the east. That's what's going to end up happening. So that means you got your cold. Okay? You have your cold. And guess what? You still have your southern jet, like this, with a lot of moisture coming up the coast. So you add the two together, it's going to be a snowy year. Now, that's just the theory behind it. All right? We go into past analogs that look the same. 1957, 1958. Look at this. Greatest warming right here, just like it is right now. All right? Warm PDO here along the western coast. Guess what? We had a lot of snow that year. Allentown, PA had 63.6 inches of snow that year. Now, we're not going that aggressive yet. Can it happen? Yes. We're not going that aggressive officially. We're going somewhere between, I think in Allentown, I think we have 49 to 58 or something to that, something close to that. And then you can read our winter outlook, and it'll show you every breakdown for 28 different cities within our coverage area. All right, but everyone did well that year. 2002, 2003. Well, look at that. Elongated, and the best warming is focused in the central area. This is a centralized or west centralized El Nino. Again, warm PDO. Cold pool, south of Greenland. You had blocking that year. That year, 2002, 2000, I just know Allentown because I live in Allentown, and I just happen to remember off the top of my head these numbers, but so I'm going to use Allentown as an example for this too. That year, 54.9 inches of snow in Allentown. Normally in Allentown, 32.9 or 33-ish. Okay, so these are all well above normal snowfall amounts. So we, if we weighted these different analogs and came up with our own winter forecast, and here's what we came up with. Here is what we came up with. You broke it down for the entire winter. Here we have in this area to our northwest between 125 and 150% of normal snowfall. That's a lot. Between 150 and 175, 150 and 175% in these dark blue areas. All right, that's a big area. And then southeast of that, down here, these are all 200, but close to 200% of normal. Greater than 175. 175% of what is normal. Now keep in mind, normal down here in Atlantic City is probably about 18 inches of snow. Okay, so you're not getting like 5-6 feet of snow or anything over the winter. Just because you could get anything. You could be definitely greater than 30 inches down here. All right, which is a very busy winter for down there. Wouldn't be busy for Allentown, because Allentown's normal is 33, but for this area, 150 to 175, you're talking between 49 and 58 inches. So that's a pretty good winter. All right, and that's just that. Believe it or not, that's a conservative number. If we get one of these blizzards up here in February, which is very possible. Look at February we have here, well below normal temperatures. Okay, well above normal precipitation, well above normal snowfall. You can get 30, 40 inches of snow in February. Okay, I mean, you get a blizzard in there, and you can get really, really high numbers. Somewhere in this, we usually get them in the February, March time frame. That's the best time to see that this year. We will start off slower. Okay, we are going to have precipitation is going to be above normal, so we think we can time that with the cold and get to near slightly above normal snowfall, near normal snowfall here in January. So we won't start off strong. Okay, start off near normal or thereabout, and then we get just socked in February, March is what we think. Last thing we'll take a look at here is the snow cover. Snow cover right now is looking up here on the left. This is where it's projected to be here in 10 days, obviously increasing and pushing further south. That's what you want to see. This is going to help with the Arctic oscillation once we get into, once we start getting into December. Right now in this month, the month of November, you just want to see it continue to build, and it is projected to do that. So you don't really need the Arctic oscillation to be negative right now. Not really necessary, unless you want an early season snowfall, but I think it's best that we can just wait and be patient. I think we're going to get to it, but I think we're going to get to, for any snow maps or anything like that, we'll probably have to wait till December. We'll watch the end of the month just in case, but right now I think the GFS is a little bit too aggressive with that. The ensembles aren't quite as aggressive, so we'll just see. All right, we'll just see what happens. If you haven't seen the winter outlook yet, you can go on our Facebook page and get the link to that. It's on the front page of our website, EPAWAweather.com. On the homepage, bottom left, we have our featured outlook there. Or you can look under the seasonal outlooks. You'll see it as the first entry there as well. And also, we're talking about the long-range outlook every day in the forum, Monday through Friday. And we have the updated long-range publicly free every Friday, but we do this in the weather forum as well. So if you click on the My Pocket Meteorologist image below this video here on this page, it'll take you right to the information about that to sign up for it. And if you haven't gotten text alerts from us yet, you're missing out on that too, because we're going to be hitting that here very shortly. We're going to be getting into these snow alerts. You're going to get an exact breakdown of what to expect for your area, whatever county you live in, including timing, amounts, and impacts that you can expect from each winter storm this winter with taking advantage of our winter packages. I'm Eastern PA Weather Authority meteorologist Bobby Martrich, and that is this edition of Weather Weeklies for November 15th, 2015. Have a great Sunday.